I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm back.
It's 5:45 in the morning. Alright, well here's our tomahawk steak ready to go. You might be thinking, why on earth, Paul, have you got a drill on the table? Liam, what were you thinking in letting him have a drill on the table and even have my Letterman? I can do anything with this Letterman. But what we're going to do is we're going to rub the meat first, and for those pervos that means with some rubbing cream, all-purpose barbecue rub. That's the one that we're going to be using today. Our piece of meat comes from Sinclair Meats, and so did this. So Sinclair Meats in Mackay, and we're just going to put some of this stuff on and rub it in. Don't be bashful with it because it's going to be hanging up on its from top to bottom, so it tends to drop a bit of it. So you put heaps on. Don't be bashful. Don't put lumps on it. And you'll see in a minute why we have a drill on the table. Once we've rubbed all the rub through the meat, I have already done it. I've drilled a hole through the bone, and that's what this piece of wire is for, if you're starting to wonder what's on the table. So we can put this through. I'll make sure it's done well so you don't drop it. Okay, that will hold it. Just cut that piece off because we don't need it. Alright, so we've got that. We'll fashion a loop. Okay, so we've got our tripod set up on the fire, which I showed you earlier. So all we're going to do is hang that. One thing I did do, and I think I'm pretty clever, is I've put a steel bent peg on the thing to hang it from. So let's go hang that over the fire. We've got our piece of steak ready. We've got our masterpiece of a tripod ready with a tent peg, and we're just going to stick this on here and leave that cook there for I thought my tripod was falling over, for about an hour, hour and a half. We want to get to about 52 to 53 degrees on the thermometer for it to know that we're ready for medium rare, and then we'll stick it on the flatbed for a little bit and we're good to go. Okay, so we've got our tripod ready for the steak. Next part is our potatoes for our lunch today. So what we've got, some peeled potatoes. Leanne's peeled them already. We're going to then chop them up, and then we have to wash them to get rid of all the starch. So we'll continue to chop those up off camera, and when you come back, we'll be putting them in here and washing our potatoes. So I'd like to tell you that I cut them up beautifully, but that would be a lie and a fib. We all know, you and I both know, that Leanne's cut them, which she has, beautifully, so she cut them. Now, this sounds bizarre to me, but it's true. Now that we've cut them, the starch is coming out, so we've got to wash them to get rid of all the starch. That's right, isn't it, Leanne?
Yes.
Yes. If you think it's an old wives' tale, let me know in the comments, please, because it seems bizarre to me. But anyway, we've cut up all the potatoes. We're just washing them here, and we will now attempt to, even sounds more ridiculous, we will now dry the potatoes for our chips. So we'll just put them out and we'll give them a dry. Ready to put the potatoes in here now. We're going to do something a little bit differently, because my aim for today is to have really light and fluffy chips on the inside and beautiful and crispy on the outside. Now, one of the ways that you can do that, you don't have to do it this way, but one of the ways you can do that is to use room temperature oil. Now, I know some of you are scratching your heads and you're going, what, are you out of your mind? You have to preheat the oil. I hear you, I would agree with you, but we're going to try a new way where we just put in room temperature oil. It also means that I don't have to go dropping all those potatoes into hot boiling oil, and apparently it gives you really nice and fluffy on the inside and crispy on the outside. So let's try that. So we're going to put in our oil to our camp oven. So we'll just put our oil in. Okay, so I put about 1.5 litres or maybe 1.75 litres in, and then we put our chips in. What's that come away? Once I put my chips in, okay, once we put our chips in, we can put the lid on, and that is ready to go on the fire. Okay.
We've got some chips on the go, we've got a tomahawk steak on the go, and now we're going to make the sauce for it. So Paul's chosen a peppercornsauce, so let's get going. We've got some butter melting, And in the butter we're going to add some onions. Now we just need to fry these off a little, just till they start to go clear. So we'll mix the butter in there. Just let it simmer a little bit, just till the onions go a little clear. We're just looking at the potatoes here while the chips are going, while the onions are frying off. And the potatoes are starting to float. They look lovely and fluffy. So we'll get them off and get them out of the oil. So we've got the onions simmering away there in some butter. They're just starting to clarify. So next job is the peppercorns. So what we've done is we've put some peppercorns in the bag here and crushed it all up. So there's some whole, some crushed. So we'll put probably end up being about a tablespoon of peppercorns, whole and crushed, and we'll put it in there. That'll be quite peppery, but they'll be lovely on the steak. The last step of this one here, while the onions are simmering away with the peppercorn, brandy, Worcestershire, is to add some cream. So we'll just add probably about half a tub of cream. Stir it all in. Oh, smell that. That smells divine. Probably a little bit more. And then we just let it simmer away a little bit, and by the time the steaks cook, the creamy sauce will be amazing.
So we've got the steak. We're just going to check it. It's been going about an hour and a half. A good hour and a half. We've got our sauce ready. Our chips are ready, and the chips are very good, I must say. So let's just see where we're sitting with our steak. It needs to be about 53. At about 51, 52, we can take it off, and then we'll pan sear it here. So it's sitting at right on 50. So we need to be about 53 for a medium rare. So we're going to do the rest on the to sear it in on the plate. But I'm paranoid about dropping it. So let that sit for a bit. Okay. We want the meat at about 53 degrees. It'll still cook a little bit when we take it off to cool. So we have a look at that now. We're sitting about 53, 54. So we'll take that off and see how it looks. Okay, so got off. It looks very good. So just a couple of slices. A bit cooked up that end, but it looks good down this end, doesn't it, Leanne? Okay. Perfect. So we cut that up. Some fries. Okay. Some fries there. A bit of juice. A bit of parsley. And voila! I put that up against any pub meal you've ever had.